Are you recording?
I am.
Are you recording?
Yep,
You're recording.
100%. The red dot says rec.
I didn't
That's
hear a
how I
beep.
know. It's because I actually never stopped recording. Dum 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 dum.
Welcome back to the workshop. My name is Jaco. This is my workshop. That's Demaya.
Hi, Demaya.
Hello, Demaya.
Hello.
Once a week, we pick a single piece of jewelry that we're making and we show you how we make the piece of jewelry. I'm sure there's a million ways of going about this, but we're not so much teachers as sharers, I'd like to say. If you're just starting out, this one's for you. If you're very advanced, just watch it for the entertainment value, or perhaps just watch the video to support the channel, which is positive for the trade, I believe. A platinum ring, hammered finish, and I was going to do a couple of little bands on the side there that has a little bit of a different finish to them. Then we're also going to give it a little bit of a matte finish on the top. I started with a piece of platinum. I always heat it up to make sure that I've got a nice soft material to work with. It anneals the same as what you would with gold or with silver. The only difference is that you can keep the flame quite a bit longer. Platinum's melting point is very high, which means it's not just going to melt. You can get it real red hot before it even thinks about melting. So you can really soften it up beautifully, again allowing you more freedom with this material. I've ordered the piece of metal to be as exact as I possibly could, because with platinum we don't want losses, any cut-offs or anything like that. You get less when you send in lemel or filings. You get less back for platinum because it's more of a process. I'm using the ring bender to get the ring to a point. Now they don't close completely, and the reason for that is I've actually ordered the exact amount that I need. So I'm not going to go past the point where I have these excess to cut off. It's just one of those little things how I work with platinum anyway. A silver would be different. I'll just use an excess piece and cut off and whatever, but platinum being so precious, I bring it up to a point where they're just close to, and then I put it into the, what is that little thing called? Is it a ring stretcher or a ring enlarger or compressor?
I mean,
well, this thing anyway is what I'm talking about. And to take that ring and compress those two parts together. Now, I'm gonna be smaller again than the size that I need, and I often do this because by hammering, because this ring has got a hammered finish, by hammering that finish into it, it will enlarge it to where I need it to be. I do a single cut through the two ends. I bring the parts together. I roll a thin little piece of platinum out, and by that I mean the thinnest that my roller can roll it to, and then I insert that thin sheet between the two end parts. With platinum, I'm always going to fuse before I solder. So if you're going to be doing something simple like a wedding band, fused. And fusing is also not another sort of, wizard term that we conjure up in the workshop. Once you try it, you'll realize it's quite an easy process and it's flawless. You're effectively melting that little thin plate that you've sandwiched in between the two end parts. You're applying heat to that melts, and when it reaches the point of the surface of the two parts, it melts onto the actual platinum. So effectively you're sealing the platinum. There are no solder joints. You're fusing the two parts together. Platinum gets to a ridiculous heat. You can't look at it while you're fusing it. I use a little welding lens that I've taken out of the welding goggles. I put a little clip on that and I clamp this onto my GRS system. If you have to use a solder to solder, because maybe you haven't done the fusing, you're quite worried about it, or there are some other solder marks and you're worried that those things are going to collapse, then use the finest of fine sandpaper before you get to the polish, so that when you get to the polish, you just touch it. I turn the ring around, I file out the inside, because remember I've had to fuse it on the outside as well as the inside as well as the sides. You can't just fuse it on the outside, the inside will still be unjointed. You have to seal the whole thing. So I've got a little bit of excess material because of that plate that I fused down on top of it. Turn it around, clean up the outside, and then once I've done this, I can start with my hammer finish. This customer wanted a hammer finish on the ring. They wanted that sort of rough look to it. And we used a Goldsmith's hammer from, what is that company called again?
Fretz, we love them.
Fretz company.
Gorgeous.
Cool, beautiful hammers. We used the Goldsmith hammer to create a flattened surface on top of it. This stretched the ring out to where we needed it to go. And I filed the sides so we had a nice smooth edge to both sides, and then I created the little lines on the side. The customer wanted a brush finish on the top, which we're going to do right at the end, and he wanted sort of like a millimeter per side, little side bands which were polished. So here's the finished product. Very simple little thing to do if you're just getting into it. This is the way I would work with platinum. Again, 9 karat gold, 18 karat, 14 karat, and everything other carat in between, as well as silver would be a different way of making it. It takes longer to work with platinum. It resists more, so you got to push more. But once you get into it, you can realize how much it gives back. Get into platinum. You can always take a tiny little ring, just buy a little piece of 2x2 material, make yourself a little ring. Use this principle, create a little something. If you're not using any solders, you're not bringing any flux to the table, and you're just working with platinum and keeping all the other materials away from it. You don't want to be using steel, for instance. You're using harder materials. Again, there's going to be follow-up videos about this. Go ahead, take the plunge and learn this metal, because as a goldsmith, this is essential for moving forward. Thank you very much for watching. It's a pleasure to do these videos. See you next week. I've got to do some work.